a virtual town hall. No, it's a cool little thing. It's a great way to attract a lot of people. There wasn't a lot of. Was there a lot of build-up for it? Because I think
I hadn't heard a thing.
I saw it on Twitter yesterday afternoon and reposted it to our Facebook and Twitter followers, but that was the first time I'd seen anything about it.
What time yesterday afternoon?
Maybe 2:30, 3 o'clock.
I didn't know a thing about it till this morning, honestly.
So you send out a tweet about 2:30 or 3 o'clock for a town hall that was going to take place at 6.
Yeah, it was in the afternoon.
I don't know. It's okay. Do you think if you're going to do something like this, you want to make sure you do a lot of build up for it? You knew you were going to do it, so you're going to do a big plan. So start letting people know, because we get all the announcements from the. Did I miss an announcement somewhere? Was there ever a mass email sent out?
You get emails from Melissa?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Did you get an email for it?
If I did, I missed that one.
Yeah.
I get a bunch.
I get a bunch, too. Well, maybe we missed an email somewhere. But interesting.
It was a new message, though, an experiment in delivery.
Yeah. Now, I'll give them this. It was posted on the front page of their website.
Yeah.
knoxschools.org. And right here I'm reading it. It said Tuesday, April 29th, virtual town hall, 6 to 7:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. It's
6 to 7:30.
6 to 7:30.
Right.
And it tells you how you can attend via computer, how you can attend via phone. And it also says there's an in-person town hall, which is coming up May 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Okay. That also, 6 to 7:30, Sturkey Elementary School.
That means they will actually be at the school.
Yes.
They won't just be like a hologram.
Yes.
Okay.
And at the forums, community members will have an opportunity to see how the information gathered from the community over the past several months is reflected in planning for the next 5 years. And they'll be able to, it says you'll be able to ask questions, seek clarity, and provide feedback on the future direction of the Knox County schools. So everybody should make plans to be there 6 to 7:30, Thursday, May 8th, at Sturkey Elementary. That's 900 Oaklet Drive. For the in-person town hall to ask your questions and find out what's going on. Because last night, it was a little odd from what we're hearing from several people, is that, Dr. McIntyre conducted the virtual forum.
Mm-hmm.
I keep picturing this hologram of Dr. McIntyre in people's living rooms. I don't know why. I know we're not there
yet. It was on TV.
Scotty's going to beam him in.
It was on the
Sturkey Elementary. Just remember that.
It was on the computer screen.
Yeah.
And he was taking, he sat at a table, he presented several PowerPoint slides,
mm-hmm.
and planned out this strategic plan for Knox County for about 45 minutes, from 6 to 6:45-ish.
Okay. That was him presenting?
Yes.
Okay.
He said he was very personable, he was smiling, he was very happy, presenting all of the stuff.
Better than the Christmas video, then.
Yes. Stop it.
No, I'm just...
Stop it.
Other examples.
Stop it.
Okay.
They said the plan features 4 themes. The district calls the strategic plan Excellence for Every Child, which was a little change from the previous one, which was Excellence for All Children. Just taking a moment to let that sink in.
Yeah, let it sink in. It's got a lot of depth.
They said it's designed to support students, educators, and the community. The 4 themes are focus on every student, invest in our people, partner with stakeholders, and embrace a culture of excellence. All very grand. All very...
formative experience.
All very big. And all kind of nebulous in their focus. I would really have loved to seen the themes be, let's get more than 21% preparation rate. Let's make sure teachers can actually teach again. Let's focus on students' education as a whole. As opposed to this. I mean, it sounds great. Embrace a culture of excellence. What does that mean? It's very grand. It's very grandiose in its sound and in its feeling. It gives you a great... I hear like trumpets and Olympic themes in the background when I read that.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Well, it's nothing that you can that later on you can weigh what actually happened against those goals and say they're completed or not.
Yeah.
You know, very nebulous, like you said.
So, well, it's just very grand. You know, it's very grand. The after he presented his plan, then they opened it up for questions, and there was a screen text box questions. There was a screen text box that they allowed the questions to come through. The first few questions were, you know, people were saying they seemed like they were kind of scripted, or they were planned to be, you know, from people that were in support of him. Things like one of the questions was, "I love the format. My kids are doing their homework, and I'm watching while cooking dinner. Keep up the good work."
Wow, it's like a public service announcement or something. You can do it at home.
So that was the tenor of most of the questions that came through. We think you're great. Thanks.
Love you. Bye.
This is the best thing ever. You're awesome. And then all of a sudden, apparently, a non-scripted question got through from somebody.
Surely not.
Yeah. The question was, the question was about the preparation rate being 21% in Knox County.
Hey, that's what we talked about.
Yeah. The answer was then given. The answer that was given by Dr. McIntyre started, basically talked about the Pellissippi State Community College, you know, preparation rate. I'm trying to read the thing here. It doesn't make a lot of sense that the preparation rate, Dr. Wise said the preparation rate was 30 to 35% at Pellissippi State Community College. And that was the only thing that was answered back. The topic of preparation rate came up during the discussion of Tennessee Promise. Dr. Wise said the prep rate was 30 to 35% at Pellissippi State Community College.
Wow.
That was basically...
And then it's like, and moving on.
You know, that was what he said. And the question was, the topic of preparation rate came up during the discussion of Tennessee Promise. Dr. Wise said the preparation rate was 30 to 35% at Pellissippi State Community College. Some research indicated that the prep rate in Knox County was only 21%. That means 79% are not prepared for the next level study without remediation. That is not good. You've been here for several years. Why is it so low? That's the whole question.
Okay, that was the question.
That was the question.
Okay.
The only thing he read and answered in his answer was the topic of preparation rate came up during the discussion of Tennessee Promise. Dr. Wise said the preparation rate was 30 to 35% at Pellissippi State Community College.
So that's what he read in the webinar as the question to him.
And didn't read the rest of the question.
Okay.
He kind of ignored the question. Then he answered as if the question was about the president of Pellissippi State Community College and not about his performance as superintendent.
Yeah, it's funny that he read just that part, because that part was not... to go with the Jeopardy line, that's not in the phrase of a question. Yeah. That's just like a statement.
And that's he answered that, and then another question got through about the BOE incumbents claiming that the Knox County graduation rate has gone up in the last 5 years from 81.4% to 87.8%. That sounds good. However, if the dropping preparation rate was a result of an artificially elevated graduation rate, as you've said, what if they're kicking kids out the door and not really ready just to make themselves look better? That would rationally account for both numbers. He kind of answered back in what people are saying was an evasive fashion. Gave a lot of
statistics
and some more of the, well, here's the numbers here, and wasn't really direct with the answer. Kind of talked around the answer a bit and talked around the question.
Probably said, we work tirelessly to make sure people graduate.
No, just threw out graduation rates and this is what we got to look at, and just kind of subverted the answer.
Okay.
Or subverted the question with some basically, and then pulled the plug and said, okay, they were done, and he had to go. That was at 7:00.
But Mike, on their website, it said, didn't it say 6 o'clock to 7:30?
Well, he's busy. He's busy. I guess someone shot the bat signal up in the air, and he had to go do some things.
The bat signal.
Maybe they had to gather at Shoney's again for another
dinner. Another dinner. Yes.
Well, fundraising.
A fundraising dinner.
I don't know.
With his buddies.
7 o'clock. It was done. I guess they didn't have any more questions to take them through 7:30, so they didn't want to just waste everybody's time. So at 7 o'clock, it was done.
Well, what about all those poor moms cooking dinner and watching their kids doing homework who are screaming encore, encore?
No. They were happy. They were happy because they're watching while cooking dinner, and the kids are in the bedroom doing homework, and everybody was happy. Those, a couple of rabble-rousers got through and asked questions that really didn't need an answer.
How dare they?
Like about the whole preparation rate thing. So
what a serious lack of respect.
Yeah, it really was.
How dare they?
So anyways, if you have questions, to ask, then the next time you can do it, Thursday, May 8th, 6 to 7:30 at Sturkey Elementary. And you can do it live in person.
Oh, you can't just walk away from a screen?
Well, you never know.
You can't cut it off early.
You never know.
Not in person.
I'm sure you have to go early, though, in order to get in line to ask the questions.
You may have to do that. Yes.
Make sure that you're on there before the time is up.
Exactly.
Because you only have till 7:30 to do that.
You did say that starts at 6 o'clock
6 to 7:30 on Thursday, May 8th. Yes. But yeah, so if you were a part of the fun and festivities of the virtual town hall last night and would like to share, please feel free to share with us. I really, if the four themes, can one of the four themes be, let's make sure the preparation rate is better than 21% for the entire county?
Yeah. But if you give out a number, then that's something that somebody can be held to, which means they could not meet it. I don't know. I think you can't put out these nebulous themes. You got to be able to say these are our goals.
Well,
here's a measurable. Here's what success looks like to me.
They sound great and they look good on a piece of paper, but in theory, it's a whole lot of nothing because we're not getting anything out. They're not getting anything out of it. And by they, I mean students and parents of these students,
taxpayers,
the people that are paying for this to happen. Lauren weighs in. Because I've been saying for the last several years that my own third graders are less prepared to go to fourth grade than ever before. Our curriculum has always been too big to get everything taught well in 1 year, so I would teach what I could until the kids got it. They would do well on tests because they knew well. Because what they knew well. Now they're required to speed through everything so my students don't retain any of it. They score better on tests because of their constant test practicing with eliminating answers, looking for keywords, etc., and because they have vaguely covered more standards. This way they can guess better when they don't actually know the material. So what it is don't really teach them anything, just teach them how to take a test really well, is what they're learning. Your kids are spending time in school learning how to take tests really well. They're not learning anything that actually is going to stick with them once they're out of it.
Well, there's all those jobs in the horizon for test tech, the new industry where you can make money. No, that doesn't exist.
When did it become okay for kids to go and get an education, and the education not to actually be anything you're going to learn, but just how to take a test really well? Don't really learn math. Just learn how to take a math test really well. Don't really learn English. Just learn how to take an English test really well. History, just learn these specific dates and learn how to take this test really well. You don't have to worry about the rest of it when you're done. You keep doing that, then you'll see why 21% of your students walk out going, okay, I think I'm ready for college. And the other 79% go, what just happened? I just spent 12 years and I have no clue what just happened. I don't think I'm ready. For what? For life. Again, if that's okay with you, then put the same people back in again. They want you to be apathetic. Because if you're apathetic as a voter, they retain their positions. Just don't care, and then they'll be able to stay in. You got 2 more days left of early voting, today and tomorrow. That's it. Let your voice be heard. We want to hear your voice coming up. 865-243-TALK, 243-8255 in this first hour. And our number, 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. Joining us on the phone right now, it's Sally Absher. Sally, good morning. Welcome to the Rude Awakening.
Oh, good morning. How are you all?
Good.
I just wanted to weigh in. Interesting conversation. We're talking about how well we're preparing our students to take tests.
Well,
I guess that's why they're giving standardized tests to kindergartners, because they need all that extra practice.
Well, sure. And when you're not actually teaching them anything actually education-wise, but you're just teaching them how to take tests, then you start as early as possible, because 21% are walking out actually with an education, whereas 79% are basically getting nothing out of 12 years of education.
Well, the timing of this conversation is perfect, because I received in the mail yesterday, as did probably most of the people in the 4th District, a flyer from Lynn Fugate talking about Knox County schools are making the grade. Yeah. For the first time in the history of the Tennessee State Report Card, Knox County received straight A's in achievement scores. Right. Graduation rate of 87.8 versus 81.4% in 2009. Mm-hmm. And so my question is, why does the incumbent continue to boast about straight A's in achievement and improved test scores when our graduates are not showing any improvement in the preparation rates? That rate has been flat. And for the people in the 4th District, the preparation rate at West High School is 23%. Uh-huh. Bearden High School, which a lot of the people in the 4th District attend, is 32%. That's still pretty awful. That's
sure it is.
Still saying that 68% of the kids are going to require some sort of remedial coursework, or they're not prepared for career.
If you're sitting there at a school and less than half of your kids are even prepared to move on once they're done, then there's something very wrong there. There's something inherently wrong there. If I had 100 people in a room, Sally, and I'm going to teach 100 people how to build a birdhouse, and when I'm done with my teaching them how to build a birdhouse, and only 21 of those 100 people know how to build that birdhouse, then there's either something wrong with the people I brought in there's something wrong with me teaching them, or there's something wrong with the entire system of how we're actually teaching them how to do it. Because 79 people are walking out of there going, I have no idea what I just did, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to do now. There's something wrong there.
There is something wrong there, and I've talked to a number of professors at both UT and our community colleges who say that these kids, sure, they can do real well on a standardized test, but they really can't cut it. And I think I'm seeing this trend nationally. There are a lot of universities colleges and universities that are no longer requiring ACTs and SATs because they find that they're not a real reliable indicator of how well kids do in college. Yeah. I think some of the kids that do well on those tests do because they've taken all kinds of additional test prep courses.
Sure they have.
And but can you write a 3-paragraph paper? Can you sit down and have a conversation with another adult?
Yeah. No,
these kids can't.
No, and if it's not via some sort of a texting device, or it's not posted on Facebook, well, I just doesn't hold my attention anymore.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, it's sad. Sally, we appreciate the phone call this morning. We appreciate you sharing with us. We're getting ready to hit the top of the hour here. We've got a whole bank of phone calls we're going to get to here at the top of this Wednesday morning, the second hour of the Rude Awakening here. It's Knox Talk Radio, 94.3 WNSZ, as we're bringing it to you live from the Slam Dot Studios at Knox Talk Radio. Our number, 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. JR reminding us, Willie's Guitars and Martin, and the name of the guitar is Trigger. Not a lot of people know that, though, unless you're a Willie fan.
That's cool.
And that's the guitar with the giant hole in it. It amazes me he can get the sound he can out of the guitar, because really it's almost more hole than guitar now.
Really?
And he's played it forever. But yeah, that's Trigger.
Cool.
That's his Martin. It's awesome guitar. Incredible guitar.
That's awesome.
Willie's 81st birthday today, so happy birthday to him as we celebrate with his music throughout the morning. Our number, 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. We've been talking about the digital town hall the virtual town hall that was presented by Dr. McIntyre last night. Scheduled to go from 6 to 7:30. It ended at 7 o'clock after a couple questions came through about preparation rates in Knox County, being 21% overall for the entire county. Students coming out of high school prepared to go on to college or into the workforce, only 21% are actually prepared to do so. And when those questions got through, he kind of hemmed and hawed and didn't really answer the question so much, talked around the question, and then abruptly ended, or I guess quickly ended the virtual town hall. So take what you will from that.
Because it was supposed to go to 7:30.
Yeah, the next town hall will actually be one in person, 6 to 7:30 6 to 7:30 p.m. Thursday, May 8th at Sturkey Elementary. And it'll also be streamed live on knoxschools.org or on Comcast Channel 10 or ATT Uverse Channel 99. So if you can attend that, it'd be a good idea to do that and get there early enough so you can get your name on the list to ask questions. Because I'm sure there'll be several questions that are already there that don't challenge anybody or make anybody have to answer any tough questions, apparently. I'll save my comments here for the time being. Our number 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. There's people in the chat room, there's discussion going on in the chat room right now about a lot of folks seeing with students going in that aren't really prepared for college. There's people that are in college now that are seeing kind of watered down material in college so that these kids don't flunk out their very first semester in college, and I guess that's what you have to do. I guess that's what you have. If you have most of the kids coming in there, a big portion of the kids coming in there not ready to actually go to college, I guess you have to water down the courses to kind of teach them again in this first couple semesters what they should have learned in high school. You have to backtrack. Because I guess the high schools and the public schools aren't getting it done. 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. Amber, good morning. You're on the Rude Awakening.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good. How are you?
How are y'all this morning?
We're good. How are you?
I'm good. Just driving to school in the rain, ready for some sunny weather. I did want to call in and, just talk a little bit about the preparation rates and also about the long-range plan. But for me in South Knoxville, I was concerned when I found out that the preparation rate was so low for South Doyle High School. That is a concern, and it kind of mirrored what I had seen when I was out knocking doors while I was campaigning. Mm-hmm. I had several parents of children who had just started college or were in their second year of college who told me that their children had to take some remedial courses when they started school, and they were completely taken aback by that. As was I, because it wasn't just one or two people. It was, several sets of parents who said their children basically, they thought they would be, ready to go and start those college courses. And in fact, they had to take some remedial work before they could even take their basic college courses.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is definitely a concern, and we need to have some goals, like y'all said earlier, to move forward with that. But I noticed myself, as you mentioned earlier, it's a lot of grandiose words on the plan and not a lot of specific goals. And I think that's sort of contrary to what Knox County Schools expects from our teachers and our students.
Well, the four themes for the excellence for every child, which is a big change from the last plan, which is excellence for all children. Focus on every student, invest in our people, partner with stakeholders, and embrace a culture of excellence.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of those of where you could look at it in 4 years and say, have we focused on every student? Have we invested in our people? None of those are specific things you could come back in 4 years and say, did we accomplish these goals? Because they're so subjective, so nebulous.
And what's interesting is at the community insight sessions and then also at the teacher-specific insight sessions, which I had attended, it seemed like there were some pretty concrete and specific ideas of where the stakeholders wanted the district to go. I can tell you that one thing I saw more than once was smaller class sizes.
Yeah.
And, Didn't see that anywhere in the plan, and of course we all know that the Parthenon group says that is a no-no, and it's actually bad for our kids.
You need bigger class sizes in order for kids to learn better, because that's, that makes sense. You need more students per teacher, and that way they get a better education, right? Isn't that how that works?
Apparently, that's Common Core math. I haven't gotten to that level yet.
That's part of embracing a culture of excellence.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and my concern is if the community is bringing you specific concrete suggestions, is the plan already in place and the community insight session just there as a PR move? I don't know, but I think that, it certainly does raise the question when you have seen these insight sessions and there are specific solutions and concrete ideas brought forth, and we haven't really seen any of that come to fruition in the plan thus far. I know they're still working on the plan, so perhaps they are going to put some more concrete details in there. But as of this moment, a lot of those concrete things that I have seen and other teachers and stakeholders have seen didn't show up in the plan. So why is that?
Because apparently there's not a plan there. Unfortunately, everything's being dealt with these nebulous thoughts and these feel-good phrases and these pat set pre-written answers that when you're faced with an actual problem or you're faced with an actual question, you just keep dancing until you can make your way out the door, and that's what we're seeing. And it's going to get to a point where people just shouldn't accept this anymore, and it needs to start right now. It needs to start right now. They don't. I
agree, and it can start right now. Early voting's still going on, folks.
2 more days, and that's the thing is they want everybody to be apathetic about it, because if everybody's apathetic and just a 10% turnout like they normally do for elections, then they get to hold their seats. It's really that simple. That math isn't hard to understand. They don't want you to care.
I can do that math.
Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world, because that's what they're expecting to happen. They just don't want you to care. Hey, Amber, have a good day at school.
Hey, I will, and I want to just invite y'all and all the listeners. We're having one last big push to get people out to vote, and for folks to come out and meet me before the big day next Tuesday. We're having a rally for Rountree at the Roundup. Say that 6 times fast. Over on Sevierville Pike tomorrow from 6 to 8 p.m. We're going to have free hamburgers. Put them out for some fun and fellowship and meet me, and I'll be there to answer your questions. I won't tap dance around them.
Cool. We appreciate it. Amber Rountree, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Hey, thanks, y'all. Have a great morning.
You too. Our number, 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. I got something else to share with you coming up in a little bit that's interesting. I want to share it with you because I want to get Christy. Our number, 865-243-TALK, 243-8255 is the number. If you want to weigh in right now. Pat, good morning, Pat. You're on the Rude Awakening.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, there's just 1 or 2 things I want to say about the school board.
Okay.
We let it get that way, so it's time for us to clean house. Mm-hmm. And would someone please answer, I know you can't, how a thing can operate and they're not accountable for their money. You have a business, I have a home to run, I account for what comes in and what goes out, and I know where it all goes. Mm-hmm. But here we have it all hidden. This is what the local school board has in common with the federal government. Squeeze people for money and never tell them where it went.
Well, actually, I can't answer that, Pat. The only reason it's allowed to do that is because we've allowed it to do that. We've accepted it.
We've accepted it, and we got nobody to blame but ourselves.
No.
And I'm going to say this, and I won't bother you people anymore. People need to get out and vote.
Yeah, they do.
And clean house for once in their life and start with the school board, come right on down to the city. I admire Tim Burchett. That has nothing to do with this, but you can talk to him anytime.
Yeah. Well,
you cannot talk to anybody in the city because they don't want to talk to you.
No, I understand that, Pat. We appreciate it.
Commissioners on out, all school board members on. I live in the 3rd District. You can never get a hold of one of them.
Well,
they don't want to talk to you, but they want that money.
But, Pat, they work for you.
No, they don't.
No, they do.
They don't do anything for the school system. They draw a check, which comes out of my money and not yours, but other people's money here, but they don't give you anything back in return except lip service.
So what are you doing to change that, Pat?
I'm voting. I vote all the time.
And how are you going to get everybody else out there to vote? Because that's the thing. I mean,
I can do is say if anybody wanted to way to the polls, I would take them to vote.
Well, there you go. And that's the best you can do, Pat. That's the absolute best you can do.
but schools shouldn't be run like a corporation.
Well, they should be run like a school.
They need to go back to teaching what you and I and everybody else is talking about this learn. How are you going to do anything if you don't know how to read and write or count? And 2 plus 2 will always be 4.
That's right. Absolutely. Pat, we appreciate you sharing this morning. We appreciate you calling in. It's really that simple. They don't want you to vote, period. They want you to be apathetic about it. Because if you're apathetic and you get the normal 10% of people that turn out to vote in this entire county, guess what? They win. Period. Period. And life goes on just like it always does. And it's like we said yesterday, it's about, we've gotten to the point where it's all about rights and no responsibility. Well, you know what? There are responsibilities that come with those rights. And you have to be able to take both of them. One of those responsibilities you have is to get out there and hold your leaders responsible. Hold them accountable for what they're doing. And if they're not doing the right job, then get them out of office. If you don't like the way the Board of Education is doing their job, then replace them. But make sure that you have your information correct and that you have all that you've done everything you could to find out who to put back in there. Because you don't want to just replace them with one and put somebody back in to do the exact same thing. It is up to you to do that work. That is your responsibility. You can't rely on anybody else to do it for you. And we can sit here and talk about it all day long, but the problem is it comes down to how many people go in and out of those voting booths. And I can guarantee you it's not a bunch. Probably hasn't been a bunch for this early voting cycle. I bet you it probably has gone down the exact same way we've seen it happen however many times before. We're creatures of habit. I mean, there's a lot of people out there right now saying that this is a crisis situation for Knox County schools, but we're too busy to go do anything about it. It's somebody else's responsibility. It's somebody else's responsibility. It's not mine. I don't want to do it. I'm too busy. I don't have time to go vote.
Or I don't have kids, so I don't care, or something.
You know?
But this is 60% of your Knox County budget. This is where 60% of your property tax check goes. You should care.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Nobody does. Nobody does. I guarantee you we could look at early voting numbers right now, and it's probably right in line with what historically has always been, which means that the regular voting numbers are going to be right in line with historically what's always happened, and you're just going to recycle the same people over again. You may have a couple seats change hands, but you're just going to recycle the same people over again.
I don't think your early voting's as high this year as it has been.
It's even better.
I mean, and think about it. Today and tomorrow, that's it.
I mean, even better. Less numbers early voting this year than has been. So even less people care.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make. These are your kids. This is your money. But when it comes down to this is something you can do about it. Somebody else will do it, and I don't care. Whatever. They talk about it all the time. It's just I'm tired of hearing about it. No. Well, if you're tired of hearing about it, then change it. Because it's not going to get better on its own. It's not going to magically just suddenly change overnight on its own. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility. If you don't change it, nobody else is. And they don't want you to change it. They don't want you to change it. They don't want to have to answer tough questions. They'll go ahead and end the forums early because they don't have to stand up to your questioning of what they're doing. They're not beholden to you. They don't work for you in their mind. And a lot of people out there convince themselves that no, they don't work for me. They don't represent me. They don't care about my kids. They don't care about where my tax money's spent. They can't even tell me where it's spent correctly. They present this outrageously huge budget, millions upon millions of dollars. And how can you even believe that budget when you come back with things like the PPU and you can't tell you down to the penny where this money's been spent or what it's been spent on? It's your money. You should care enough. But the shocking thing is just not a lot of people do. 10% of the people in Knox County care about what happens with their dollars and who runs their schools. 90% of the people in Knox County could care less.
Or they spend more time, talking to each other, maybe calling radio shows or even listening to radio shows, but still don't do anything about it. And, if you are one of those people who votes, this isn't you. But you can tell some of these people who maybe don't vote or don't want to get out there, don't want to be involved. Because, this is our future. In more ways than one.
There's apparently been a teacher work group scheduled to meet on May 6th. It's primary day. It was called by Dr. McIntyre. He's asked for a teacher work group to meet between 4 to 6:30.
Nope.
That's the day of the primary.
Yeah, I know. I'm just weighing out
for 2.5 hours as we move on through the second hour of the Rude Awakening. We've got apparently sitting school board members have actually said at board meetings that one of the reasons to keep giving the K through 2 SAT 10 test is that it will give them practice for taking the TCAPs. And that's important because TCAPs are very important.
Oh, they are. When I think of things on the top of my list of importance, that's at the top.
I mean, how much do you really learn from a TCAP test? How much do you really learn from a standardized test? Really? How much education? How much education do you pull from a standardized test?
You learn how to make a good guess.
You learn how to take a test well. How much education do you walk away from a standardized test with? How much did you learn from your... Did you want to take the SAT or ACT?
I took the ACT.
Yeah. How much do you remember from your ACT test? How much did you learn from your ACT test?
I don't remember anything about my ACT test. I remember how glad I was I got to walk out of that room.
Terry?
I'm about the same way.
I mean, I took the same 2 tests. Yeah. You know what I learned in my ACT and SAT prep test? How to take the test.
How to take the test.
This was 25 years ago. How to take the test.
Yeah.
How to eliminate answers.
Yeah, not here's the stuff you're going to talk about. Here's what they're going. How to take the test.
What to do when you have 2 answers you think might be the answer. How to eliminate one. How to look for the like Amber said. Look for the buzzwords.
I can look at a question right now and go, oh, well, that looks like an SAT question. That looks like an ACT question. That looks like something they'd ask you on an SAT. I can look at them and say, okay, that's what it is. But did I get any knowledge from that? No. That's the knowledge I garnered from that. How to take the test. And we're bringing up a generation of kids that know how to take a test. They don't know squat, but they know how to take a test.
Well, that's part of the rigorous standards.
They can't explain to you what the Constitution means, in theory. They can't explain to you the history of this country. They can't explain to you what a dangling participle is or what a gerund is. They can tell you how to take a test, though.
Mm-hmm.
Can't
read you a letter written in cursive.
I don't know. It's one of the things that came out with the proposal, the 5-year plan last night from Dr. McIntyre is apparently they're considering what's called a balanced calendar. Now, this will affect you if you have kids in Knox County schools. It's not a year-round school program, but it's a, quote, balanced calendar, where you have basically the same number of days they're at school now, but it's just moved around on the calendar a bit.
Shorter summer break and then longer breaks, like longer winter break, longer fall break.
Yeah, basically it shuffles breaks, it shortens traditional summer. Summer ends up being 6 weeks long. You do cycles of 9 weeks of classroom instruction followed by 3-week long, what they call intercessions. An intercession means it allows students to help, it allows time to help students who are struggling or other enrichment opportunities to those performing well. You might have an arts organization come in and be part of the intercession, Dr. McIntyre explained. Or maybe the symphony would come do something with us. Or robotics classes taught by a scientist at the Oak Ridge National Lab. Summers would last about 6 weeks. He said it's still a summer, it's just not as long. You don't see as much of a summer learning loss than you sometimes experience. Here's the thing. If you're actually teaching them something, guess what? They don't lose that much during the summer. I didn't lose that much in the summers I had. And I had fairly long summers. I remember when summer actually lasted 2.5 months, 3 months.
Right.
But I walked out of the end of each school year actually with some knowledge and with some education, and I didn't lose a lot of it over the summer.
Right.
You know why? Because it was actually taught to me. But I guess we need to make sure and have those summers shrink up so they don't lose how to take those tests.
Well, you were taught to learn instead of learning how to take a test.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you got back to the school year, you were able to pull from the knowledge you had learned instead of just your test-taking ability.
Yeah. There's, and that's fine. I mean, I had friends who've gone to year-round school, and a lot of the people I know that went to year-round school, so they loved it the way it was, and and that's fine. I mean, the problem is it's not about the school year. It's not about how you set up the school year. It's not about it's about education. If you're not teaching them anything, it doesn't matter how long they sit there. If you have students in class for 12 years and 21% of them walk out and know what to do afterwards, you have failed 79% of your students. You had one job and you did it wrong. And I can just break it back down to that simple fact. If I have 100 people in a room and I'm going to teach them how to build a birdhouse, and I spend 5 hours teaching them how to build a birdhouse, and we get done and only 21 of those people walk out knowing how to build a birdhouse, then either A, there's something wrong with the people in that room, B, there's something wrong with me, or C, there's something wrong with the entire way we just went about those 5 hours. I failed 79 of those people. I did. Or the people organizing that class failed them. You are failing your students. You're cheating people out of their tax money.
Just about to say, the only difference is those people could ask for their money back for your birdhouse class. Students don't get anything if they walk out of the schools not prepared.
I mean, quit dodging questions. Answer a question. If somebody asks you a hard question about preparation rates, answer the question. Take responsibility for what's going on, because you're supposed to be the one responsible for it. And if we can't get answers from these people, then get them out. Get somebody else in there who will do something better. And if they don't work, get them out. But you can't do it if you sit at home on your butt and don't go vote. We can complain about it all day long, but if you don't go vote, you know what? Nothing changes. Nothing changes. And it doesn't matter if it's Board of Education, doesn't matter if it's a senator, doesn't matter if it's a commissioner, doesn't matter who it is. If you don't go vote, nothing changes. It's that simple. If you don't go vote, nothing changes. And then you only have one person to blame when it's all still the same. The next year, the year after that, the year after that, just look in the mirror and go, well, I didn't go vote, so it's my fault. And if you're out voting, great. Get other people to go out and vote. Tell them how important it is. Let them know that they have to go out and vote. They have to go out and make their voice known. And people say, yeah, well, then you got a lot of voters who don't know. They're uninformed. Well, you know what? You should care enough about what's going on in your own community to get the information and then to go make your voice be heard. You should care enough. But that's the beauty of our society. You can live here completely free of all responsibility, and eventually somebody will take care of you. It's the double-edged sword that we live with every single day. I don't know. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. 7:43 on this Wednesday morning. Our number 865-243-TALK, 243-8255. Good morning, JB. You're on the Rude Awakening.
Fellows, can I bare my soul that I've got some confessions to make?
Absolutely.
I was not a Willie Nelson fan until I was an adult. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it. But I've learned. Fellas, I didn't realize how well Willie was regarded by other musicians until I saw a PBS program. Evidently, he was considered to be quite the entertainer and quite the songwriter. I didn't really know what his reputation in the music business was.
Oh yeah, very well respected.
Obviously, in Austin, he was a legend. Guys, also, I need to confess, when I started college, I had to be remediated. My llama grooming was bad. My llama was unkempt, and personal hygiene was a problem. I didn't take a bath till I was 19, and
wow,
these things happen. Guys,
thank you for being honest with us.
Yeah, I was one of the rabble-rousers that contacted Mr. McIntyre last night and asked what I thought was a legitimate question about the preparation rate, and I tried to communicate how he only answered half the question and kind of just dodged the rest of it. And I wasn't trying to be a smarty aleck. I wanted a see if he would respond to that, and he didn't. And sometimes a moment gets crystallized in your mind. That, to me, was a very crystallizing moment. This is his response to citizens. No wonder these people didn't come to the forum or come to here have citizens ask them questions. They can't answer them, Michael. They want to know, how do you say our graduation rates are better, but our preparation rate is down? If we're increasing graduation rates and kicking kids out of school who aren't prepared to go on to college, that's something they don't want to talk about. And I'll guarantee you, he went out there like Usain Bolt last night. He was out of there.
Yeah.
Fellas, thank you for this opportunity. I got a flyer from Lynn Fugit. I'm in the 4th District, and she talked about how great the graduation rates were. And I said, well, if we're graduating kids who aren't ready, and they have to spend 2 more years in junior college or college, that's a huge financial burden for citizens. And they could actually run into hundreds of millions of dollars. You think in the last 4 years, we spent over $2 billion to educate these children out of our tax money.
Yeah.
And now we have to pay to educate them extra 2 years what they didn't learn in high school. the taxpayers should say, we've had enough. At some point, I would say, educate my kids so I don't have to remediate them. But you'll have to pay for it either out of your pocket or it's student loans and extra debt. This is bad for a lot of reasons. It's time to make a change. We've got to have people who will honestly respond to us, not give us edubabble and euphemisms, but tell us the truth and not put extra debt on us and then have our kids go to college, have to take an extra 2 years in junior college, extra couple of years at UT or at Middle Tennessee State. That will cost a lot of money to taxpayers. We've had enough.